makes it very difficult when women and children cannot find the husband and the father. And they don't know where he is. He's not contacted them. They got to ask other people. Have you seen my husband? No, sis, I ain't seen him. Has he been at the masjid? No. What is that? Assalamu alaikum. Peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships and the co-author of the new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. Now, in this video, I want to address something that's very serious, something that can be very traumatizing, and it is. And that is the absentee husband, especially in polygyny. Now, we know that it takes two to be in a marriage, whether it be monogamous or polygynous. It's important that families and wives and children see the husband. I'll tell you why this video is so important, because I keep hearing, DMing, coaching women that don't know where their husbands are. They literally don't know where they are. And the time is not split evenly among the women. So they find it difficult and challenging to raise their children by themselves. Now, I want to stop myself right here in the video. And then in that, I would like to acknowledge the brothers that are trying and being met with challenge. I want to acknowledge the men and the husbands especially, and that's who I'm talking to, because typically husbands are men, for their efforts, and applaud the fact that I know it's not easy. I know they're met with so many different things, even though they chose to be in polygyny and have more than one wife. That doesn't mean it's easy. That doesn't mean they have it all figured out, nor should they be met with, well, you did it. You need to figure it all out and have it all done. And I want it perfect. That's not how life works at all. People have a learning curve. Men and women have a learning curve, but they're not alike. It's different. The life of a wife is different than the life of a husband. For those of you that are new, I'm not married to my awesome co-wife, Coach Nyla. We are married in our own monogamous marriages to Coach Nazir, for specificity, for clarity. Now, I had to stop and thank the brothers that are trying. I know that our husband is one of those men, and he coaches men. And a lot of coaching is, I'm going to teach the people the lessons that I had to learn the hard way so that it's not as hard. But one thing I know that there's many things, but one thing specifically that stood out in my mind early on in polygyny was that our husband didn't play around with no times. We saw him every day. Our children saw him every day unless he was traveling and not in the same vicinity physically as them. And even with them, he would do video calls and Zooms and whatever he needed to do, or call them on the phone so they could hear his voice. He would even go so far as to send postcards from wherever he was in the world, because this is a big old world. I suggest those of you that have not been able to travel it, please get out and travel it, please. It's beautiful. It's beautiful from what I've seen, and I'm very grateful. Now let me get back over to this abandonment situation. There's so many women and children that are not having the presence of their husbands in their homes and their fathers in the homes. And it is detrimental in many cases. Some don't want him there because he might be a tyrant. He might be abusive. He might be addicted to some substance, and they're glad he's gone. I'm not talking about those extremes, although those are not something to just dismiss. But in this specific video, I'm speaking to those that the women have married them and then they can't find them. They're not active. It has become a I'll get to you when I get to you type of scenario, a situation. You know, you sit over there, be quiet. I'm stomping out your voice. I don't want to hear what you need. There is a difference, for clarity, between nagging a man to death about every little thing that you don't like that he does versus I don't get to see you and our children don't get to see you either. When are we going to get to see you? Trying to figure that whole thing out. Trying to figure out a schedule. Trying to have the hard conversation and to keep getting shelved and ignored. That is problematic. If it isn't yet, it will be indeed. It will be indeed. Because I know specifically, I married a man. I know this for a fact that didn't marry me to get divorced. Looky there. And I didn't marry him to get divorced. Was it an option? Absolutely. Yeah, it was an option. A marriage is allowed, divorces are allowed. But we try to exhaust every effort before that happens. It's not something you just throw out there. But it makes it very difficult when women and children cannot find the husband and the father. And they don't know where he is. He's not contacted them. They got to ask other people. Have you seen my husband? No, sis, I ain't seen him. Has he been at the masjid? No. What is that? So I want to speak to those abandonment situations where what are women supposed to do when they can't find their husband and they're afraid and they don't have any answers and they don't feel loved or cared about or supported or heard and their rights are being taken and stripped away from them? Coach Nazir speaks so specifically to predators in polygyny, the men that just want the women to say they have them. I ain't doing nothing for you. I don't support you. I don't have the finances to support you at all. I just want you there as a fixture for me so that I can say I'm in polygyny. I'm in it, but I'm not practicing it. I'm in it, but I'm not being involved. I'm not engaging in raising my children. I'll leave that to you. I'll leave you to raise the sons and the daughters. I'll leave you to have all the sleepless nights with our babies. I'll leave you to have your pregnancies and everything all by yourself, and I will not come see you. I'll see you in another year. And then the women are going, well, what am I supposed to do? I miss him. I want to be close to him. I want my child to know their siblings. I want my child to know their father. And the father's saying, no, bump that. I'll get to you when I get to you. You don't matter. What I want to do matters. So see, we need to start investigating narcissism. Now, another disclaimer, some brothers have to travel when they're in polygyny because the wives are not in the same country. I get that. I know some amazing men that have to do that because of visa issues, because of different legal issues and immigration. And then they're met with customs and they bothering them. A lot of them are Muslim. They don't like that. Why are you flying over here? Why you keep going back and forth? You get out of our country. You relocate your family. They're met with a lot that they didn't see coming, but they're trying to make it better. They're trying to bring their family together, but governmental, constrictions or restrictions are stopping that. Shout out to them. Shout out to the men that are close to us that are still trying and met with opposition. But I'm speaking to the ones that just completely disregard. And I don't like blanket statements. I'm not going to say all men in polygyny are this way because they're not. We ain't met all men in polygyny. We have not met all women in polygyny. It's like, oh, women in polygyny are abused and stupid and they're all indoctrinated and brainwashed. They're all dummies, a bunch of dummies, uneducated idiots. I don't like blanket statements. I like getting specific with things.